Watch the Game podcast. L.A. Cheatham.
Benjamin Banneker, what's up? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. What's up, good people?
What's up, man? We're going to be kind of swift tonight. And welcome to the show. It's been a while since we got at you guys on Watch the Game podcast.
I lost my...
Had a few setbacks, and I mean quite a few. Starting with you losing your voice tonight, we sat back and watched the semifinals of the college football playoffs when the Michigan Wolverines lost that game to TCU, and I'm gonna let you elaborate on that a little bit so we can get them all caught up.
Man, listen. Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to start in the aftermath of what happened, what we saw last night? Or do you just want me to take it back to watching that football game? Where you want me to start?
Well, this the thing. I'm gonna give them a brief rundown. We're gonna kind of be pretty quick tonight. First and foremost, the NFL football season is over. Regular season, that is.
Yeah.
Our Bears ended up with the number 1 pick in the draft. The NFL playoffs, of course, are coming up. But, yeah, TCU beat your Michigan Wolverines to advance to Monday night's championship football game, where the final was 65-7, going up against the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, with that being said, that kind of brings them up to date, and we could kind of run it all back. But I just want to give you an opportunity to express, get it off your chest for all those that really want to know.
Man, listen, okay, because I couldn't really talk for a week. Okay, we was together, we was watching the game. By the end of the game, my voice was shot. It was out of there. I got two major issues. No, I got a few major issues with Michigan. One, and we talked about this real time. I think they went into the game overly confident and just overlooked TCU. We talked about that on the last time we had the show. I feel like the fan base was on that. Like, hey, we just want to get to the championship so we can play Georgia. We not taking TCU serious. That was number one. Two, the plays on the goal line. They came with that flea flicker. Was it the Philly special? I'm sorry, the Philly special, and handing the ball off to a linebacker, converted running back that had not played running back until the Ohio State game. Yeah, that worked in the Ohio State game, and he fumbled on the goal line. We said too many people touching the ball inside that close to the goal line, just quarterback sneaking in. So coaching. Second of all, they didn't let J.J. McCarthy run until they was well out of the game. He kind of got him back in the game, but that was one of the weapons that J.J. could do. He can throw, he can run it. They didn't utilize that enough. And finally, the defensive coordinator just all of a sudden panicked and decided to start blitzing Max Duggan when he was like 9 out of 22. He wasn't carving you up. Just sit back and play coverage. And when they came with that cover zero blitz, my man Quentin Johnson, who was going to be a first-round NFL pick, I don't know how he looked last night because I cut that game off early. He breaks the game open on a 75-yard touchdown. So I was really highly disappointed in the coaching that Michigan put out on the field in that stage. Michigan is a better football team than TCU. I do not believe Michigan would have got blown off of the field. They probably would have lost to Georgia, but I don't feel like they would have got blown off the field like TCU did yesterday, 65-7. We watch college football all year, and that's the finale that we get. Come on, Michigan should be embarrassed. They should be ashamed today, and they should feel some type of way. And Jim Harbaugh probably should not get no NFL offers. I wouldn't be offering him nothing if that's what the last thing I saw him put on tape was that. No, you can't come coach in the big boy football league. So now I got that off my chest because I didn't have no voice because I was screaming. And I was irate out of my mind. So thank you for letting me get that off. I know we like in the 2023 and that game happened in 2022, but whatever. I had to get it out.
One thing about that game, and then we could kind of cover last night's championship football game, as well as maybe elaborate a little bit on the college football championship further down the road when they expand the playoff. Um, to go back to the TCU and Michigan football game. Michigan made a hell of a valiant effort to get back in that game, and they just blew opportunity after opportunity. You stated that they had too many people touching the ball. I agree with you on that, and we're gonna get to that when we talk about Georgia and TCU because Georgia just really went and took care of business. Nothing cute. Hit them in the mouth, hit them in the mouth, hit them in the mouth, hit them out. And they just did whatever the hell they wanted. They overpowered TCU on Monday night. But the one thing that stood out to me in the TCU Michigan game for the effort that the young man went out. I mean, they were down. This game was like, it was a point when you thought Michigan was just out of it and they fought back. I think they even took the lead in this game. The one thing that stood out to me after all of that was the horrible clock management on Jim Harbaugh's behalf. He sat there. He. I forget the play, but he got TCU to blow their last time out.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, he had three timeouts, and I think he blew like he just clock just ticking away. You knew you had to get the ball back, and then so they eventually lose the game. Horrible clock management in that situation, but I'm going to have some fun with this. I just want to know what you think. Now, just as recently as a few days ago, they get these investigations coming up on the program.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know a whole lot about it, but sounds like they bought a few cheeseburgers they shouldn't have bought.
Yeah.
And all I could think about is did Jim know that these allegations were coming down the pike as this game was going down? Did that have anything to do? Just speculation. Did they have anything to do with the way he managed that clock and that game down towards the stretch? Because the guys on the field, outside of the mistakes, I think McCarthy threw was it two pick sixes or
Two.
one.
Two.
So outside of that, we kept saying if they would have just let him be an athlete and take off, that game could have had a different outcome. And but the clock management and then the allegations. I mean, the investigation. Well, how do you feel about that? You think they're all kind of tied in?
No, because we kind of got this saying when we watched Michigan football games. Whenever it's a big game, Jim Harbaugh gonna do something stupid and cost your team 7 points. So you might as well start the game 7-0. Big game, he did it again. Number 12, he's always been critical of Jim Harbaugh's clock management, and that's just his track record. So I don't think the two are related, but I do think they had an idea that these I guess accusations or allegations were coming out because when the story broke, it was, I think the headline was like Michigan expects to receive or something from the NCAA. So they knew it was coming, but from what I remember correctly, it happened in 2020. It was like they had contact with the players during the dead period or whatever. Who don't have contact with players during the dead period or whatever? So when I actually saw what the allegations was, I'm like, okay, so whatever. I mean, I don't think it's going to be no major ramifications behind it. And the Big Ten and these conferences are starting to be the governing bodies versus the NCAA. So who give a damn what the NCAA want to drop on the school or whatever? They forming these super conferences so they can do their own thing. So I think it's like it was just a headline. It came out, and then are people even still talking about it? I haven't even heard anything about it since then. All I've been hearing is, Jim Harbaugh NFL rumors post that. So I don't even think it's an issue.
Okay, so let's move on to last night's championship football game. Uh, Johnston, Quentin Johnston had one catch for 3 yards. One catch for 3 yards. I mean, hell, they only scored 7 points, so and that was a touchdown run by Duggan, I think, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you play the games on the field. And what it comes down to is Georgia won the football game a few summers ago, a few springs ago in the living rooms.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line. They had better athletes, stronger, quicker, faster athletes. Um we could touch on this further down the line because we want to be kind of quick about it. But the bottom line is to get back to you said Michigan had too many people touching the football. That wasn't the case with Georgia.
No.
Georgia just hit him in the mouth from the time. Don't get me wrong, TCU looked good for a couple drives. Then even the defense looked okay for a couple drives. But after that, it was just all Georgia. I think
Yeah.
I even fell asleep on it once or twice.
I turned it completely off. I mean, we know Georgia is the superior talented team. We knew that going into the game. And I think just looking at Michigan and TCU, you would think Michigan was the more talented team than TCU. And I think that's why they overlooked TCU. But it's a closer talent gap with Michigan and TCU. We can agree to that. But Michigan still should have won that game. They still should have won that game. Georgia didn't play no games with them. And I think Michigan losing to TCU kind of put Georgia and the coaching staff on edge. Like, no, we ain't about to go out here and get cute. We know we better than them at this position, this position, this position, this position, and we just gonna put it on the field. And I don't think Michigan went into it with that game plan. It's sad that the college football semifinal, both games were better than the actual finale. Both games, whether whoever you was cheering for or not, the Ohio State Georgia game that was good, even though I was pissed and I didn't watch the end of that. And Michigan TCU game, whoever you cheering for, both of those games were exciting. They were engaging. They were entertaining. This yesterday, listen, we could have cut Madden on.
I want to touch on some things. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna go back to the year 1990, and I'm gonna reference this to the National Basketball Championship of 1990. Now, but before we do that, you look at the bowl games that were played. If you took out the time to watch the games, I think the Tennessee looked good in their bowl game against Clemson. Alabama looked really good in their bowl game against Kansas State. Now, when you look at those bowl games and whatever, I think it was the Rose Bowl, I think it was Utah playing Penn State. Now, when you look at those bowls into the future, those games will be playoff games.
Right, right.
Okay. So Penn State looked really good in their game. Alabama looked really good in their game. Uh Tennessee looked really good in their game against Clemson
Even
with
Notre Dame.
who your boy was playing quarterback for Tennessee that night.
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton, the former Michigan recruit, looked good against Clemson. Now what I'm telling you is further down the line, those games are going to be playoff games. And it's all about the money. Bottom line, it's all about the money. But those games will be playoff games. And looking at those three teams, the way they performed, Penn State, uh, Tennessee, Alabama, and I may be missing one. Those teams look good in their bowl games. So you got to think about it. In future years to come, you'll have those games will be played out. This thing will be played out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But every game starts 0-0. And I'm going to take you back. 1990, UNLV running Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Johnson and my man
Stacey
Stacey
Augmon,
Augman.
Greg
They
Anthony.
went out and it was in Denver and they played the Duke Blue Devils in the championship game and they blew them out. They
Mm-hmm.
blew them out. If you look back on it, it's probably the worst blowout in NCAA college basketball history. I could be wrong, but I seen it happen. So when you get back to last night's game and you think about what's going to happen in the future, you can't control the blowouts. You just can't. When you think about the Super Bowl, think about when I think was it when I forget what Super Bowl it was
I
when the
know.
49ers just blew out the Broncos and John Elway.
Yep, that was in New
And
Orleans.
and the Broncos just blew out the Carolina Panthers years ago with Cam Newton.
And the Seahawks blew out the Broncos in New York.
Okay. So the bottom line is we have no control of how these games are played, matchups, talent levels. I mean, the bottom line in college football, the games are won in the living room,
Yeah, yeah.
pretty much. It's recruiting. Uh Now moving on from that, the Bears got number one pick in the draft. Lovey got his biggest win, I guess, since he left the Bears. That's just, I mean, it benefited us. I mean,
And got shown
uh,
the door because of it, but that's a different story.
uh, but the Bears got the number one pick. Ryan Poles was able to talk to the media today and kind of get him some type of indication of maybe what he may be thinking, what he's going to do with that pick, what he's going to do with free agency, what he's going to do in the draft, whatever. We can touch on all that later. But the one thing I picked up was it sounds like he's satisfied with the development of Justin Fields. Now, what do you think? Number one pick in the draft, Chicago Bears. You Ryan Poles, what you doing?
Well, we know we got options, okay? And we know we can trade that pick back and get more picks, or we can go ahead and take the first pick, which is projected to be my man from Georgia, right? What's his name? Jalen Carter, I think his name.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This team has a lot of holes, okay? And unless you're thinking Jalen Carter is going to be Michael Parsons, if he's going to be Lawrence Taylor, go ahead. But we was texting back and forth. You was like, yo, his stock is going down. He could be Jadeveon Clowney. And you know he had that big hit versus Michigan, versus Michigan in the bowl game. And his career, his NFL career has never really lived up to what he did on that one play in college. So unless you got a surefire, can't miss, this guy's going to be here for a decade, we building around this dude, take the pick. But other than that, I think you need to trade the pick. I think we need to getting more picks is more of a commodity, more value to me because this team has a lot of holes. We saw that the last 2 weeks of the season. They got a lot of guys on the field to see if they could, be contributors next year. I didn't see many. This team has a lot of holes. So trade that back. We got cap space. Ryan Poles, you are on the clock. Because as Bears fans, we settled on the narrative that this season is probably going to be a transitional year. First year coach. We got to see what Justin can do. We got picks and we got cap space coming up. So we swallowed that narrative. Transitional year. You went 3-14. You on the clock. As far as I'm concerned, he missed on Velvet Jones. I'm sorry. He missed on Velvet Jones. Okay? I would rather you trade that pick back and have maybe you get 3 picks for that first pick, and maybe 2 of those guys hit and you miss on one, than to take to take this first pick, Jalen Carter, and he not paying out to be? What if he turned into be Tommy Harris? You know, when Tommy Harris got his money, Tommy Harris was stealing. Okay, we trade the pick, trade the picks, trade the picks.
Well, there's some people out there that want to say Bryce Young, draft Bryce Young. Now, this is my thing with that. Justin Fields, you take Justin Fields off of this football team. Now, only won 3 games. You take Justin Fields off this football team, how many games do the Bears win?
We probably looking at 1-16.
That's my point. Justin Fields was maybe forced in this role because I still believe that David Montgomery was misused. I think that Kyrie Blasingame was misused. They didn't get enough. They didn't get enough from those guys. Just not no fault of their own because I just think David Montgomery is better in the passing game. Didn't have the opportunities that he should have gotten. So was Kyrie Blasingame. No opportunities to catch the football in the passing game at the fullback position. Coming from Tennessee, he showed that he can do those things. Didn't get those opportunities in Chicago. So the strongest point on this football team is the running game, point blank. So I would like to see them bring back David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery and the Chicago Bears are in a kind of unique situation. If you look at all the running backs that are going to be available in free agency, David Montgomery has a lot of competition ahead of him. Now, I think Saquon is probably the best running back available in free agency. I think he's a free agent. Now, David Montgomery, I don't think he's going to get the money because of the guys that are available and the market. And I don't think he's one of the for the Bears, he works. But I don't know where else he can really go and get paid per se. So
Right.
he really has to think about, maybe he could take a hometown discount and give it to the Bears.
I think because if this was last season, he would have way more options because he definitely had a better year last year than he had this year. But I don't know if it was a product of him just, I don't want to say losing the step, just having a down year, or the Bears going into the season thinking, hey, Khalil Herbert still on a rookie deal. We can move forward with him as the feature guy, maybe draft somebody, bring. I think what they wanted to do was move forward with Khalil Herbert and Ebner. Take that Khalil. I think when they started the season, that was their plan. But Ebner didn't really pan out. So now they, like you said, they're in this unique position. If it was me, I don't know if you can franchise David Montgomery because I don't think he's worth what the top 5 salaries at that position in the league. A scary thought is Justin Fields and Saquon, but can Saquon stay healthy enough in the backfield? But I definitely,
Saquon's going to get paid. You're gonna have to.
yeah,
You're going to get paid. I think he's probably the best running back in the free agent
class.
pool. This, yeah. So I think he's going to want to get paid. And I don't know if the Bears are going to want to pay the money he's going to be asking. That's why I'm thinking that uh, Montgomery answers a lot of questions. I mean, both like financially and scheme wise, he was just misused this season, I believe. And I do think that they will, if they keep Montgomery, they will draft another running back because I don't know if they were satisfied with what Ebner gave them.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you there. Uh, if it's me, I'm probably gonna sign if we can get to a number that's team friendly and cool to Demo. Bringing him back because I think you have bigger needs on this team. We know the defense. We need a lot of guys on defense, and we know we need to bolster up the wide receiver core. We know that it should be no reason Darnell Mooney and played in 6 weeks. And do you know he was the leading wide receiver? I mean, the leading, wide receiver in yards until Cole Kmet passed him up in the season finale, and he hadn't played in 6 weeks. That is absurd. So we know we got to get some guys on the outside. Maybe a lineman here and there, but the world is in our hands right now. It literally is. And it's too many times in the past, we as Chicago Bears fans have seen them squander positions like this. And I just really hope that that's not going to be the case right here.
Okay. We're gonna kind of cut it short tonight. Uh, you got some things you need to get into. Um, but you said a lot that we probably gonna have to get back to it a later few days because we will be back. The NFL football playoffs starting, wild card weekend coming up. Uh, on Saturday, Seahawks 49ers. That's the 3:30 game, 4:30 Eastern, I believe. And Jaguars Chargers. These are Saturday night games. This is a Saturday night game. Uh 7:15, 8:15 Eastern. One thing about this Seahawks 49ers matchup, Pete Carroll seems to have the number when it comes to the 49ers offense. Something that was brought to my attention last night. I haven't really gave it a bunch of thought until it was brought. He does do pretty well against the 49ers offense. His defense match up pretty well. Uh games in San Fran, Purdy's playing quarterback. He's the question mark. Purdy is the question mark. Geno Smith get an opportunity to, make some money. Maybe win a playoff game, wild card game. A lot at stake for him to just continue to add to the success that he's had this season. Interesting matchup.
Yeah, you know what? I'm torn on that game because now that Aaron Rodgers, because I wanted to see the Packers get in just so we could have Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. But since that didn't happen, I'm torn because I want to see Geno do well because I finally feel like he's getting his opportunity. But I'm definitely rooting for the Eagles 49ers NFC Championship game. So I'm kind of torn on this one. But if I had to make a pick, I'm gonna have to say the 49ers. Geno, you was a Pro Bowler. I still think you're gonna get paid, and I still think you're gonna be the guy in Seattle. But I need Eagles 49ers in the NFC Championship game. I need that to happen.
Okay, now you said a lot, but we're gonna kind of reference back to that. Chargers. So you picking the 49ers. That's what you want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pick the 49ers as well. Because I did make a statement earlier this season coming down the stretch. I thought they were the best team, the best coached team in the NFC. I think they're getting better as the season goes on. And then you got the Chargers going to Jacksonville. Justin Herbert matching up against Trevor Lawrence. Man, that's gonna be a hell of a matchup. I can't really call it. It's gonna be a hell of a matchup because a defensive line, that front seven can get to Trevor Lawrence. They can cause some problems.
Man, I was cheering for Jacksonville to make the playoffs. They got in on a questionable fumble call. But I'm kind of coming around on Trevor Lawrence. I I didn't see it after his first year at Clemson. I thought he just coasted and got to the league, and I'm like, why not? Justin Fields has had a better collegiate career. Why not him? But whatever. So I'm kind of coming around on that, and I know what's his name, Brandon Staley is kind of in some hot water with the Chargers. So I know he needs this game for his job probably. But and Justin Herbert is an all-world talent. It's gonna be a great game, but I think I want the Jags in this.
Okay.
It's a home game for the Jags too, right? Yeah.
That game is in Jacksonville. Because Jacksonville did win the I think it's the AFC South.
Yeah.
So they did win the AFC South when they beat the Tennessee Titans. So that game's in Jacksonville. That's Saturday night. Now, we're gonna wrap up because for those of you who don't know, I mean, my man's been going through some things with his voice. So he kind of doing me a favor tonight. We're going on tonight, which was more of a sound check. You know what I'm saying, on the fly for some things I'm doing over here. But and then maybe we can come back to it in a couple days. Hopefully, maybe under the Friday night lights. Let's give that some thought. Uh, but Sunday you got the Dolphins Bills. I'm gonna go with the Bills. That's the 12 o'clock game, and then Vikings Giants. That's the 3:30 game. I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
That's the
And
game I'm
then
least excited for. Vikings Giants.
and then Sunday night Ravens Bengals. By the way, I'm gonna go with the Bengals on this one,
Yeah.
but don't know if Lamar Jackson's gonna play. I really don't think he should play. I really don't because he hasn't been there so long. But the thing, Roquan got paid. They gave him his money, but we gonna spend some time on that later down the road. But just want to touch on that. Let's see if we can get back with them on Friday night and kind of elaborate more on the Bears with this draft. Give you an opportunity to look at the Ryan Poles press conference, Eberflus press conference, and then maybe we can touch back on some of these. Some stories can unfold before we go to these playoff games.
Did you mention Tampa Bay, Dallas? Because I know that's the Monday night wild card.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. But will be able to hopefully we'll be able to touch base again before that game's even it gets close to being kicked off.
Yeah.
A shout out to all the people in Buffalo though, man, with the young guy Hamlin. What's his name? Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, Damar Hamlin making a recovery after suffering a cardiac arrest against the uh, Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football last week. Prayers go out to him and his recovery, and to the NFL family as far as the Bengals, his family as well. Hope he can gets better, have a speedy recovery. Because it's not even about football at this point. It's about his overall health. But I didn't want to go on. I didn't want to go on tonight without mentioning that and sending his some prayers out to him and the football community, football fans. Uh, but hopefully we can get back at them Friday night and we can touch back on some of these matchups going into the playoffs because it's that time of the year. And then going forward, can you hear the ball bouncing? Because it's time to start. Now that college basketball is done, it's time to start. Now college football is done. Now it's time to start covering some hoops a little bit more in depth. So we'll be watching a few more of those games now that our Bears are out and we can enjoy the NFL playoff. But unless you got something else, man, watch the game podcast, man. I'm gonna let you take them home. Thanks for giving me this sound check tonight. And
Hey man, it's all good. I watch the game podcast. We look forward to being here with y'all as many times as we can. We're trying to ramp this thing on up. Please comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube page. What WTG podcast?
WTG1.
Yeah, there you go. Please, because we trying to grow this thing. We definitely trying to get this thing into a big way. So I know we've been Bears heavy, but y'all gonna see that we really watch watch these games, and we talk more than just about the Bears. So and Michigan for that matter. So we appreciate y'all being here with us. Come on this journey with us. Keep riding with us. Keep growing with us. Hey, Benjamin Banneker signing out. It's my birthday tomorrow. It's my
Yep,
birthday
yep,
tomorrow.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
you
I
know.
forgot. Happy birthday to you. I had that on my mind too before you know, before I even asked you. Let's go on for Wednesday night because I figure you be occupied. Happy birthday. I don't know what you got planned, but you are the
We at
pen.
Magic
But happy birthday to my man Penn over here, man, the talented one, the engineer, the one with the golden voice, the hell of a lot of sports opinions. Happy birthday to you, man. I'm not gonna call you out and ask you, any other questions as far as how old. I mean, you can, you know what I'm saying. But watch the game podcast, man. Hopefully we'll get back with you guys Friday night under the lights. Friday night lights. Watch the game podcast. You think we can make that happen?
Friday Night Lights. We making it happen, and it'll probably be another early show, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. But we gonna make it happen Friday night.
All right. All right, man. Peace out. Watch the game podcast. WTG1 podcast on YouTube. Peace out.
We gone.